Hello there ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sai and I welcome you to another Devlog video. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to meditate and relax a bit, cause boy oh boy, has this development progress been super frustrating. It's been about 2 months since my last devlog. It's cause I had my dirty college exams, if you know what I mean. But I'm late mostly cause I just couldn't get going with this game. With every step in the development, 2 or 3 new problems would arise, and my lack of skills as a developer didn't help much. As I said, it was really frustrating and I couldn't do a lot. Codes were messy, everything looked problematic, felt no motivation whatsoever, and felt like giving up multiple times, and it left me with an nihilistic outlook towards life. But anyways, here I am sharing my little progress. So remember how in the first and second devlog, I worked on the player and bit on the enemy? Then in the third devlog, I redid the player, but this time with rigid body. Well, guess what? On the shady night of July 13th, I went to that new player and cause I planned to yet again redo the player, but now with an actual body this time. So I started with modeling the player, and I won't lie, being surrounded by these many bald mans, it's kinda intimidating, kinda comforting too. Anyway, I made like a player which will be subjected to changes soon, and hear me out, I actually thought just putting the model into the previous capsule player would work. Man, I must have been such a douche. Alright, so in an attempt to get the feel of having a body, I moved my hands before the camera and attached my gun. To further feel a liveliness from the get-go, I coded the hands to move ever so slightly with the camera. And oh boy, look at those creepy hands, if I call it so. Also, when I turned the rig renderer on, or in other words, made his bones visible, what do I see? That's right, one giant strong and healthy bone.
Also, fun fact, I had recorded over 100 gigs of goddamn videos of me getting into new issues and raging over it, for this devlog, and it's safe to say that 70% of those frustrating tiny issues I did not add into this video.
I for one haven't tried much of Unity's animator facilities, and clearly had a lot to learn as I was making this ambitious game. Things were getting kinda messy, so I started with the player and the animation system once again. I haven't ever bothered to use humanoid rigs and layers and all those stuffs, so it was somewhat overwhelming initially. And you know, a man has to run, so I work on a run animation. And oh boy, that's tight. Players sure will have something to enjoy at least. You're welcome. Even though I was less experienced with making all those animations, I could see some severely strong potential in me, not to brag. Okay, it was at this point where I met quite a big of a problem. It wasn't much of a problem really, it was more like a sore to my eyes. The camera would rotate up and down but won't stay attached to the player's head. Again, I know it ain't really a problem, but I wanted to solve it anyways. And man, it took time to get these little things done that people won't even notice, I believe. You know. Anyway, I got it solved. The solution was kinda unconventional, if I will. It looks like one of those old games, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, back to some humanoid stuffs. It was my first visit to Mixamo. From there, I downloaded this gorgeous lady, and man, the protagonist is such a pervert. Although I'd be lying if I said a lady running this fast didn't kinda stole my heart too. I then spent time on learning avatars and retargeting models for the animations, Now I'm somewhat of a weak-headed guy myself, and it wasn't coming easy at me. At one point, my camera got stuck to the player's belly, and I just couldn't get it back into the position. It feels really helpless when you have no clue what might be causing a problem. I then gave the player shoes and some game-themed suiting. Look! And with that, I again had to go through the avatar creation and all. I saw glitching thighs, glitching legs, missing legs, legs that were high, legs that were why? Oh god, what am I doing wrong here, please? Here, enjoy some Skyrim. I then quickly started with the ledge grab system. You can check out the game logic explanation for that in my previous video. Now, how many of you know the wonders of pressing F on your keyboard? You guessed it. It zooms into the selected object. My camera fricked up again. I tried solving it with code, only for it to get more fricked up. Things started to get messy again, problems started to arise, so with the fear of getting lost, I started a new project. I also had a newly found love for Mixamo, and I realized my mistake for why my animations sucked previously. Yes, you guessed it. It's cause I downloaded a female's animation. No offense, but that's something our kids would do, and I am no kids. This time, I downloaded a truly cultured man. His charisma and mere presence gave me a weird platonic feeling, and it filled me with immense motivation to get done with the player. Well, you know, whatever gets those motivations running. I spot a mistake and BAM! I would work to solve it instead of planning to later visiting it. I thought of providing each part of the player's body with separate colliders. But it was tough and I gave up. I also noticed that the player, while running, animations were kinda breaking the model's legs. I decided to solve it later. Maybe. I then decided to redo the player script yet again. After some time, I felt like I was progressing. Although, just getting the player moving with some animations might be a super easy task for some, I was still happy to see the simple but satisfying results. But of course, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Also, would you guess it? I messed up the camera once again. When you see yourself just messing up so fucking many times on a seemingly easy task, it's so easy to lose any remaining motivation. Eventually, I got it fixed though. Then also the shadow seemed wrong, and on reaching to the solution, I was presented with some funny and cool effects. Okay, now I met another issue, and it was a tough and immensely frustrating issue. Oh boy, it was the slopes and gravity. You name me a duo more terrifying than the slopes and gravity. These two issues were not going to leave me anytime soon. Also, the sphere that was to check if I were on land or not was causing some troubles. I don't remember what, but I then moved to some, again, unconventional ideas. That didn't work well, so I eventually turned to the sphere checker. And also, I made my player have a capsule collider, rather than box collider. Imagine having a box collider, representing the society, and how it keeps us in a limited box of a cage. Disgusting, I say to that. Sprint, oh, talking of sprint, I did so that whenever you sprinted, the player would lean a bit forward, for a bit of extra effect, if you know what I mean. I tried to do that. Throughout this development, I so very frequently felt like my base knowledge of the game engine and coding was lacking. All in all, it was frustrating. Gravity was broken, the player won't jump at times, and etc. Hey, I got his crouch working, I got his crouch system working, and also aligned the collider to the animations. One side there were broken things like gravity and slopes and jumps, and yet again a code that looked as though I could have made it so much more optimized and cleaner. On the other side, I felt like things were coming in place, and maybe with some more work it will be perfectly working. Hey, look at that shaking legs. I don't know exactly what's causing that. Hey, look at that yet again mixed up animations and parameters. Hey, look at that floaty and unrealistic jump. Man, I'm really weak at game development, as some might say. Sometimes I'd come up with solutions for problems, which feels like it isn't really a reliable and solid solution. Sometimes solving certain issues feels like you just somehow smoothed out the surface, though maybe beneath it, the entire base of the game is broken. Then I spend a little time to observe how Quake and Doom handle movements. Then I proceed to spend a long time playing them. Jumping to the ledge grab system now. It of course didn't start off well. The hanging animation would bring the player to undesirable places. And when I went to the internet for solutions, I was reminded of the horrors of life. But eventually I got around it. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to take a screenshot for the thumbnail. Even after some frustrating tries, it didn't feel good. I would come up with a solve only for it to make it more weird. Sometimes, from my observation, key clicks and collisions won't register. Now obviously, I know that these problems stem from maybe wrongly written codes. But yeah, that's it. That's all I had to say. Thank you. Once again, on approaching to the nasty net, I'd be reminded of some of those harsh realities of life. However, I did come across a beauty called Look Around, and its sheer craftsmanship mesmerized me. And finally, it was working. Oh boy. Nope, never mind. I then quickly made an ugly map, and in that congested area, I got to realize how unsolid, or if I say, how liquid, the gameplay felt. Jump was problematic, animations would get stuck. Movement on slopes were equally broken. And I know it's mostly because of my unprofessionally written codes. But just like the clever optimist I am, I jumped to adding a wall kick system instead of solving those problems, as anyone would. and then I added an air dash system. You see how you definitely cannot seem to jump while running down a slope. And on jumping and landing on a slope, it would leave you in the jump state. Jumping simultaneously would shoot you very high up, and I again would work to solve a problem just to be presented with a brand new problem. I really lost my motivation when I built the game and tried it, when I realized that the game build was even more broken. That's when I realized that somehow the build version works differently to the editor. And worse yet, the small editor playing window worked differently to how the maximized playing window worked. This time I really gave up, but then I also just wanted to get done with it. I didn't want to leave the project undone, like I did with my previous project. So I gathered whatever motivation I had and got back to work. Anyway, looking at that improper implementation of ledge grab system, I also felt that maybe the game doesn't really need a ledge grab mechanic. So leaving that, I started working on an item pickup and drop system. However, here is when I realized something strange. Now the drop function is supposed to throw the held object in the hand's forward direction. However, it was throwing it at different directions. When I put a raycast to point at the forward direction, I realized that the player was not really facing the forward direction at all. It's almost like my camera was rotating half the speed of my camera. Not sure what I just said, but yeah. Just know that it was a bit of a high-stake situation, if I will, cause maybe such an issue could create more problems in the future. In fact, I'm certain that this was the reason for the ledge grab system not working. On solving that, I thought maybe the ledge grab system too got solved, but nope, it didn't. Honestly speaking, the more time I spend on the ledge grab function, the more I didn't care for it. Lastly, I work on a height detection function, by which I meant to let the player climb over or jump on minor heights automatically. That way, not only on ground, but also, if you miss getting on top of a platform just for a bit, this would lift you up and help you.